Hello, welcome to R&D Simulations YouTube channel. In this video I will give you some details about the Automatic Climate Control System or ACCS that we have simulated in the update version 108 of the Bonanza G36 for the Flight Simulator 2024. Here you can see the changelog. As you can notice, this is a big update. We have a lot of modifications and improvements. I suggest to read this changelog to know all these changes and to also watch this video to understand how we simulated this climate system and how it works in the simulator. In the documentation folder we added this picture, this diagram, which shows the panel of the system and the functionality of the buttons. We added two virtual buttons, one on this thermometer icon that simulates this functionality, which could not be achieved by the mouse in the simulator, and the other on this fan icon, which displays the cabin temperature for 5 seconds and then returns to the default indication, the default reading, which is the target temperature. That's because in the simulator we can have the sense of the temperature inside the cockpit and the cabin. In this update we added the already existing animation of the pilot window, but it is not just the animation. We also simulated this window. The window is a ram air source, so when it is open it affects the ram air flow. Now on the overhead, we added the already existing animations of these three ventilation outlets. You can open or close them. They are turning 360 degrees. These outlets are controlling the fresh and cooling airflow. We need to have them open to have the cockpit and the cabin cooled by cool air. The positions are stored in which we set these outlets are stored in local vars, so we have them for the next flight, any position we set them. Here on the pilot panel, as you can see, we removed some switches and levers. These are also removed in the real aircraft when the climate control system is installed. Here we have only the firewall lever. Normally this lever is in pushed position, which means that we have ram air coming through the cabin from the fuselage. If we want to maximize the heating or the cooling inside the cabin, we can pull this lever. Here we have the panel of the climate control system. As it is obvious, we need electrical power to work the climate system. Here we have the on button, which turns on the climate system, the off button, which turns it off. The default reading is or indication displays the target temperature we set up the system. We can set it to Celsius or Fahrenheit by this virtual button. This choice is stored in local var for the next flight. We don't need to change this all the time. Here we have the plus and minus buttons that control the increases or decreases the target temperature. The maximum temperature is 35 degrees Celsius and the minimum temperature is 13 degrees Celsius. We can increase the target temperature or decrease it. This choice is also stored in local var for next flight. Here we have the plus and minus buttons for the fan speed. The maximum fan speed is 100%, the minimum fan speed is 10%. We always have some fan to boost the air coming from the climate system. This displays for 5 seconds and then returns to the default reading. Here we have the auto button, which sets the system to auto mode, sets the target temperature to 22 degrees Celsius and the fan speed to 50%. The fan speed affects the airflow and the time that the cabin, the cockpit needs to warmed or cooled. Here we have the button that displays the ambient temperature for 5 seconds and then returns to the default reading. Here we have the virtual button that displays the cabin temperature for 5 seconds. Now let's turn on the air condition, set to the cool mode. As you can notice here, there is a warning annunciation that says us that the air condition door has been extended. This door, the condenser door, is located on the fuselage, is this door here on the left side. Unfortunately, this has not been animated by the developer, Asobo or any builds, so we added only the PFD annunciation. To have the control system operate in the cool mode when the compressor is on, the engine RPM should be above 1200. So let's advance some throttle. Okay, let's move the hardware lever. To see the system working. Okay. To maximize the cooling, as I said earlier, we can pull this lever and we can increase the fan speed. This also increases the sound of the fan. The sound is increasing or decreasing by these buttons and the percentage of the fan speed. Here we have the windshield defrost. Now, from this lever here, when we have installed the climate system, the windshield defogging is controlled by the system. To have the system provide warm air, as the windshield defogging, actually it's defogging, not de-icing or defrosting, is provided by heated air that hits the windshield. So the system to be able to provide heated air in the cabin, the engine oil temperature should be above 40 degrees Celsius. We can monitor the engine oil temperature from the MFD and the engine and system page. Here displays the oil temperature. Normally the temperature to monitor and to control this system is the exhaust gas temperature, the EGT, but unfortunately in the flight simulator the EGT does not have enough parameters to control especially the time that it needs to race when we start the engine, and the time it needs to cool down when we shut down the engine. So we prefer the engine oil temperature, which gives us better controllability about the functionality of the system. What you need to know is that to heat the cabin or to have the windshield de-ice, since the flight simulator does not simulate windshield defog or humidity inside the cabin. What you need to know is that the engine oil temperature needs to be above 40 degrees Celsius. Even if the engine is shut down, while the engine oil temperature is above 40 degrees Celsius, the system can provide enough warm air to have some heat in the cabin or in the windshield. Now let's press again this button. As you can see, the temperature dropped to the target. Now if we close the compressor, we can see that the temperature inside the cabin will start to increase. In this update, we also simulated the circuit breakers. We made some changes to these panels and to the labels of the circuit breakers. We also simulated the electric bitstream button, the autopilot disconnect, the autopilot control wheel steering, the transponder ident. You can see all these changes in the changelog and when you fly the aircraft. The temperature is increasing. I hope to enjoy flying the aircraft with this update, all these improvements we made. Thanks for watching the video and have a happy flying. Bye bye.